Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bellingcat Live on YouTube and Twitch. My name is Giancarlo Fiorella. I'm a researcher and a trainer here at Bellingcat. I am happy to be here with you today, back on whatever we want to call this, live streaming, I guess.
Bellingcat, and thank you very much.
Lord Sudcar, thank you so much for following the channel. And if you're watching for the first time and you want to support Bellingcat and you want to support our streaming initiatives, please go ahead and follow us, be it on Twitch here or YouTube. Again, I'm Giancarlo Fiorella, researcher and trainer here and occasional streamer, usually once a week. Whenever my schedule allows, I like to get on here and share with the Bellingcat community, both on YouTube and on Twitch. So thanks so much for coming. If this is your first time watching, welcome. And if it's not your first time watching, welcome as well. We have a lot of friends in the chat.
Bellingcat, and thank you very much.
TCAB XLS, thank you for following the channel. If you're in the chat, say hello. I see lots of friends in there. I see Charlie. Hello, Charlie. Thank you for watching. She's our wonderful social media producer. She's in the chat there. Geppetto says hello. Hi, Geppetto. And so does Lotte Cat. Hi, Slow T, 33NL, old friend. Good to see you. Same with T-Witch Aaron. Hi, thank you so much for coming. This is great. Step Solitaire. Oh my goodness. I said this the last stream. It feels like a birthday party. All my friends are here. This is wonderful. Pika Penguin. Hi. TCAP says, I finally made it onto the stream on time. Well, congratulations. I hope I don't waste your time. I'm going to try to make this a good one, all right? I'm going to try to make this a good one for you, TCAP. I see Codex404 saying hi. Hello, Codex. Donnie Worldwide says hi, and Eridus is here as well. Longtime Discord server friend / member / community pillar. Is this working this week? If I type Discord, does that work? No, that broke last time, and I forgot to fix it. We have a Discord server. If you want to join our Discord server, you can do that. People will throw a link in that. Yeah, weird. So it works if I don't do it. If somebody else does it, it does work.
So that's Bellingcat, and thank you very much.
Yeah, that's really weird. Okay. Anyways, welcome everybody. And Daniel J. Newman, thank you so much for following. Let me ask you a question before I bring on our special guest who's here waiting in the wings patiently. Can you hear when people follow, and can you hear Elliot's voice saying, that's Bellingcat, thank you very much? Okay, I see. Yeah, Eridus says that he can hear it. I got it to work. So I implemented that, I want to say 6 months ago. It worked once, broke immediately. It stopped working. And I got it to work again. So you should hear it. I see multiple people saying that they hear it in the chat. I see one person saying they don't hear it. Slow T, you got to do something with your volume levels because it is working. I've got confirmation from multiple folks in the chat saying it works. So that's Elliot saying, that's Bellingcat, thank you very much. I ripped that right out of a YouTube video. It's pretty low. Okay, I'll bust it up. I'll get the volume up. But the problem is it's going to hurt my ears. But you know what? I'm willing to make a sacrifice. It's at full volume. So whoever joins next, if you follow the channel next, you'll make people hear Elliot saying, that's Bellingcat, thank you very much. All right. That's the highest level production value that we've got right now on the stream. But now we've got Charlie on board. She's going to help us clean up our act here. We've got a special guest, Michael Colborne, who I'm going to bring on right now. He's going to talk about some research that he's just published. And if you're watching for the first time, I'll tell you that the stream is about an hour and a half long. We spend about half an hour, 45 minutes talking about recent development and recent research that's been published on Bellingcat.com, the website where we work. Then what do? We talk about tools, I guess, not always. And then we play Geoguessr for the last, 45 minutes to a half hour. So if you want to play Geoguessr with the chat and with me, go ahead and go to geoguessr.com. Geoguessr.com, not a sponsor of the stream or of Bellingcat. You could just register with you could make a free account, and then you can play with us. If you have a question about anything that I talk about or anything that Michael talks about as I bring him on in a couple minutes, go ahead and type it in the chat, and I will put it up on the screen using magic. No, I won't, because I noticed the thing's not working. All right. There's this thing called feature chat that usually works, and it's not working this time. So I can't put your question up on the screen. But if you have a question, please read it out, and I will ask it to myself by reading it, and then I will answer it. Also,
So that's Bellingcat, and thank you very much.
Charlie, I noticed that I do not see the restream thing, so that's not working. Normally I would have a doc that would have the chat from YouTube. So if there are questions on, if you're watching on YouTube and you have questions, type them out, and then Charlie will relay those questions to me via the Twitch chat, and then I will read them out. So it's a little bit confusing and chaotic, but thank you, Charlie and everybody, for pulling together and making this work. So let's get to it. I'm gonna bring on Michael Colborne. Let me click on this thing here. Does that work? Yes. Oh, it does work, but your picture, I deleted it. So we can't.
Listen, anonymous.
Okay, I'm gonna.
As if it's impossible to find my photo.
I'm gonna show you. Yeah, so let's get Michael. So Michael, we can now hear you. Welcome. But let me. So I deleted the picture. Oh, I'm such a. So this is Michael right here. He's a journalist, investigator.
Where am I? Am I hiding there? There I am.
Yeah, and trainer for Bellingcat. He leads Bellingcat's work researching and monitoring the transnational far right. So thank you for coming, Michael. Everybody can hear Michael, right?
You can all hear me talk, right?
Say yes, we can hear Michael, or
Give
otherwise.
me some affirmative, please. Yes,
go.
awesome.
Okay, we got
all
lots
right,
of folks.
Cool.
Good, perfect. Okay, so Michael,
Great.
yeah, sorry, I messed up the thing. So normally there'd be a picture of Michael right here. Well, normally there'd be a video, but the video thing wasn't working. So then we went to another platform, and I couldn't get the video to work. So
Hey, let's keep it low tech. Let's keep whatever works.
let's imagine this is a radio. In fact, just close your eyes, everybody, and ignore the
Use
screen.
my radio voice.
Minimize the screen. Don't watch the stream. Let's pretend we're on radio. Michael, how are you?
Doing pretty good. I'm a bit tired. I flew in today from vacation back home in Canada, so
Michael
yeah,
and
I'm gonna have a cheese sandwich and a nap afterwards. But,
Michael and I are the two Canadians at Bellingcat, right? It's only us two, right?
it is. We need to do some expansion.
We need to expand.
Bring some more of our people in.
Yeah. We'll make a kinder, more polite, more sorry-prone Bellingcat if we get more Canadians on board.
I think the world needs more of that. Yeah.
Michael, I'm going to pull up your Andrew Tate War Room article. So this is something that you published a couple days ago now. You want to talk us through what you wrote about here. And by the way, folks, again, if you have any questions about anything that Michael's saying, go ahead and ask it in the chat. And I will do my best to keep my eye in the chat and ask your question to Michael and answer them. So thanks again, Michael. What can you tell us about this article?
Well, I think the first thing I'll say is that I'm not going to go through in excessive detail, going through every single point of the article in detail. I'm more interested in some of the questions or even observations that people might have. The first thing, though,
thank you very much.
To start off is I want to thank Owen and especially Charlie, because this article was really the first time that we did a video along with it. We put up a video, about a 3.5 minute explainer video, did it initially for Instagram, and it has since been on YouTube. And I think that this has been a really good, it was really smart of us. We chose an extremely non-controversial, simple topic to do a video on, So, there's me, from my studio at my parents' house. Not to give too many details away, but shout out to Charlie for pulling this video together, editing, scripting, dealing with me doing stupid things, not looking at the camera, etc., etc. But all that aside, what I wanted to do with this article, doing some research, I'd been doing some research into what I'd call Andrew Tate world. I've been since maybe about March, and I'd been looking for something to write about, something to sink my teeth into in terms of Andrew Tate and to a lesser extent his younger brother Tristan Tate. I think we are probably all sufficiently online that nobody needs an explanation as to Andrew Tate is. That's kind of sad, but I'm pretty sure nobody does. I didn't need to explain to my mother who Andrew Tate was, so that was all the sign that I needed. But what my motivation for this article was, I didn't want to just write something about, oh, Andrew Tate said this or did this. Oh, he believes and he has these extreme misogynist views. Those are bad. They are bad, but I didn't want to focus an article around the antics that he's done. And I did notice as I dug into the Tate world more and the way that Andrew Tate communicates the things that he talks about. And but not even that, but what really struck me was that he's got, well, it's same for any kind of influencer like this, I suppose. But somebody like Andrew Tate, it's not just Andrew Tate or even his brother. Let's imagine the Tates together. You know, there's all these people around them. There's these enablers. There's these hangers-on. There's boosters. There's business partners. They're men who basically are in his circle, who prop him up. The men who kind of make everything that he does possible. And that's something, that whole approach is something that influences the way that I look at a lot of things, even though, of course, we need to focus on prominent individuals, whether they're more from like far-right extremist scenes or manosphere scenes, whatever we're going to call Andrew Tate. You know, of course, yeah, we need to focus on the individual, but there are some of these figures like him have these enablers around him. And in the course of my research, there's many figures that came up. There were 3 figures that came up that I focused on in the article. Now, just to backtrack a little bit, these are the figures that are very senior in his so-called war room. And as you can imagine, like almost anything called a war room has nothing to do with war, and it's not a room. It's essentially, the most polite way I can put it is Andrew Tate kind of an Andrew Tate created network of men who, you know, get to do top G stuff and you know, learn how to make money together. Like Tate boasted, I think I quoted this in the article, the war room is the greatest thing on the planet, bar none. So that kind of boast. The war room, if you want to join it, but of course, you got to be a man if you want to join the war room. That's kind of how this super misogynist manosphere works. The war room has been around for several years. Back in 2019, it cost, you know, a few £100 or euros. But now, if one were to want to join the war room, it costs you upwards of $8,000.
Wow. And
despite all the promises about, you know, the war room literally is the greatest thing in the universe, basically all the war room is a bunch of Telegram chats and people talking about men talking about pickup artistry type stuff. You know, if people remember back to that whole kind of manosphere type craze 15-20 years ago, that part of things hasn't changed, but it's mostly about not just making money, but sometimes maybe not always making money in the most straightforward or the most moral or even legal ways, allegedly. So with that aside, the 3 men who I focused on in the article, the first fellow there, in terms of the 3 men for this article, he was the most simple. He's the former Australian soldier. I think you've got him up there right now. I focused on 3 individuals who have tried to, like I said, keep their keep their identities kind of on the down low. Like to varying degrees, these 3 men either hid their identities or they didn't publicize it. In the case of this first fellow here who went by, a lot of them have ridiculous nicknames. This fellow goes by the name of Sartorial Shooter. I'm doing air quotes right now. But his real name is Jewel Sullivan. And like I say in the article, his real name is not hard to find. He doesn't promote it, but he doesn't entirely hide it either. And he was the only person of the 3 who replied to me when I got in touch to contact. He is from Australia, former Australian soldier. Has worked in Dubai in the Middle East for, I think, maybe 10 or 15 years. Really seems to have undergone a conversion to Islam in the past year. And he has a background in
So that's Bellingcat, and thank you very much.
a lot of corporate public relations. He worked for a healthcare firm, Abbott Global, in charge of like security, and he used to work for British American Tobacco. So if you read the responses that he gave to me, if any of you have been around the world of very slick public relations professionals, that's kind of what he was aiming for here. So to be honest, even though he is kind of the main defender of the Tates in the public space right now, he's actually the least interesting of the three here. The next fellow is a pretty interesting fellow. Like, he's been referred to as like a wizard, but he calls himself a hypnotist, he calls himself a magician. But he is somebody, he goes by, his real name is Miles Sonkin, and I was able to confirm using some open sources, not to find his phone number. And by doing that, I was able to find his WhatsApp number, which had his picture on it. So that really helped. And then use Truecaller with that number to find if there are any names associated with that telephone number. And lo and behold, Miles Sonkin was the guy's name. And to keep things short there, if you want to look at somebody's social media feed that could in some ways be worse or even more misogynistic than Andrew Tate, look at this Mr. Sonkin's Telegram tweet. He's in his early 60s and does strange magician type stuff, really into like it's pretty awful, and I'm not going to belabor people with details now, but I'll quickly end with the third fellow here. This was kind of the harder one to find, is Jonathan Bow, because he's somebody who it really seems like he has much more obviously tried to hide his identity, but he hasn't succeeded. Particularly after Andrew Tate got arrested last year, it was clear. It seems clear that Mr. Bow here, who's another senior figure in the war room, has tried to kind of hide who he is and his relationship to the Tates. But I was able to track down, confirm that, this guy is who he says he is, so isn't. If you know what I mean. But there were a few hints there you can see on the screen there of an anonymous Twitter account. I was able to figure out that was, well, likely him, because there aren't a lot of Antarctic ice certified instructors out there. Figured out that refers to basically a designation in the United States Air Force. This guy's a former USAF pilot. And ended up piecing it together. And what I think was funny, if you scroll down more past there, I was able to find his picture, and then looking in this this is a screenshot from the Vice documentary. I think people should watch it. You notice his face is blurred out. If you just scroll back up, Giancarlo, to the
this guy.
You see the blurred face there, and so clearly enough to me, if you ask to have your face blurred in the documentary, you don't want people to know who you are. It's like, oh, who could that guy be? And then if you scroll down, well, the war room showed us who it is, because they tweeted out a photo from the exact same occasion with his face unblurred, and that really helped. And Sonkin didn't reply to any of my requests for comment. This fellow Bo deleted all of my. I could see on Telegram, when you DM somebody on Telegram, you can see when somebody just deletes your DMs. So I haven't explained in a ton of detail exactly how I found these, but you can see that in the article, and of course in the lovely video, which I think is, it's a great thing, and I hope I know we're going to do more of that. But to conclude, before opening to some questions or comments that people have, there are more to come. There are plenty more figures around this war room, some lesser known than others, some whose real names are already known. There's some very kind of unknown figures in there, and all of these three fellows that I talked about in this article, there's more that can be written and dug into about them. So when it comes to the world of Andrew Tate and this extreme misogynist manosphere, this is not, for me at Bellingcat, this is not just a one and done, go on to something else. There shall be more. So
Nice. Well, listen, thank you for that, Michael. I as I scroll through this, really, really great work on this. Folks, if you have any questions about the article or about anything that Michael said, now is the time to put it in the chat. I feel, as an observer, not a researcher of this group, like when I look at this picture, it's so, I mean, these guys are, I think, I don't want to laugh them off as being like harmless, but it's so absurd. Like the world that they live in.
I think these guys, this world embodies that sort of contradiction where, and I would say if you follow their social media accounts or go look at their social media accounts, these and some of the other men in this circle, a lot of them it's so cringe.
Yeah, that's the word, cringe.
It's so cringe, and it's frustrating because you look at the things that not just Tate does, but the other people in this circle, the things that they post about, and you think, who the hell would possibly believe this? And then I'm looking on my computer now. Andrew Tate isn't on YouTube anymore, but he's on Rumble, and I was just looking. So last weekend, Andrew Tate was the Tate brothers were released from house arrest, I believe, about a week and a half ago. That, to my knowledge, was actually expected, so I don't think there's anything to really freak out about there. They're under a pretty strict judicial control right now in Romania. But they did this completely absurd, like fake live streaming 24 hours in a jail cell, what they described as a jail cell in their home. And on Rumble, this video from 7 days ago, it has 4.75 million views. Wow. So I think that's what is difficult, something that's difficult about approaching some of these kinds of personalities, groups, influencers as an outsider. You look at this, it's like, this is so stupid.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute, 1 million people watch this. Or this guy. Then even some of these hangers on are guys who have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of followers, and then it really reinforces that as absurd as the message can seem to some of us. There are young men out there, particularly like young adolescent men. It's very clear that this is something that's targeted more at 13 to 16 year olds and up. Then you see, I mean, I think you and I, for all those men, we all know we were very stupid as teenagers. I will gladly raise I don't think I would have fallen into like this kind of stuff, but teenage boys believe a lot of dumb stuff. But so 1 out of every 10 is going to be buying into like, oh yeah, I should join Andrew Tate's Hustlers University and learn how to, I don't know, do whatever I can talk about what they do in Hustlers University, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, it's a numbers game, I suppose, right? Because again, if you've got so many eyes on your product or whatever you want to call this, I mean, it also, as absurd as all of this is, even the price tag, like $8,000 to be in a chat with like this guy.
I didn't say this. That's the minimum to access. I was going to make a reference to another group, but I'm not going to. It'll be apparent to some of you who I'm talking about, but you join with this initial fee, but in order to like advance and become, to get into like the room that has Andrew Tate, or if you want to go to a certain kind of event, you have to pay for like 5 courses.
Wow.
And then you can pay to go to an event. And I saw a screenshot. Since I've written this article, have had people reach out who have sorry, I don't know why I blanked out there. Well, they have
it's a jet lag, Michael. It's
reportedly, but chat leaks from from the war room, and they, there's one case in there where an event this year, these war room guy who wanted to go would have had to pay $12,500.
Huh.
It was a long-winded way of making that point.
Wow.
But I do see a question there if you want me to answer that with the time we got.
Yeah, let me read it out loud so that people who are not looking at the chat can hear the question. It's from Lord Char. Hi, Lord Char. Lord Char is asking, can you talk a bit about the way the media are covering Tate and what you think is good and bad about the way he's being covered?
I think for the most part, a lot of coverage, especially since his arrest, has been much better. And what I mean by that, I think good coverage of Tate is stuff that does not just report on whatever latest antic he does or him just saying something offensive on social media. Good coverage of Tate is picking apart the lies. There are a lot of lies, especially when it comes to the things he claims about his case, things he might claim about the accusers. He lies about everything. So there's good coverage in terms of just absolutely, for lack of a better term, calling BS on it. Where there's less good coverage is giving them a platform. Now, fortunately, not a lot of media outlets do this anymore. That's why he had to turn to Tucker Carlson, for example, who now just has a Rumble and a Twitter platform. And Tate did talk to a Romanian media outlet on Friday, and obviously it was in English but subtitled in Romanian, and that was an example of bad reporting in my opinion, because Tate flat out said, he lied and was never called to account by the reporter. I think with somebody like Tate, it's constantly calling him on his BS. It's not ensuring that you don't present himself the way that he wants to be presented.
Yeah, exactly. Not giving them a platform to just like market themselves without questioning the whole thing, right? Yeah. Thanks for that, Michael Colborne. Are you okay to stick around for another couple of minutes, Michael?
I'll stick around for a few more minutes, yeah.
Okay. We have a question from Eridus. Is that a question, Eridus? I'm going to read it out loud. Can I have some of your media that picks on lies? I'm exposed to plenty of sensationalism that just echoes junk.
In general, or about the Tates? Because about the Tates,
let's go to Tates.
To the Tate, for the Tates. I think if you're interested in, but I'm still, even if it's just a comment, I'm still going to answer it in the context.
There was a question mark in there, Eridus. Therefore, it was a question.
I still think it's a good opportunity to throw this in. If you're looking for good stuff to read about the Tates, that, isn't just my article, which I do think you should read, but there are, first of all, I think the Vice documentary, or Vice and BBC, depending on where you live, which came out in January 2022, which a reference in the article, that's about 45 minutes. It can be a bit of a tough watch, understandably, with the things that the Tates are accused of. That was good at unpacking some of his nonsense. English language media outlets, Rolling Stone has written a few times quite well about the Tates. BuzzFeed News, rest in peace, before they disappeared in March. They were doing a lot of stuff, even if you go back and look, even before Tate's arrest. There's a few in-depth English language articles there. But other than that, those are kind of the main, in the BBC as well, with another interview. And of course, a BBC documentary that is coming out, I believe, in about 2 weeks. And I think people should watch that.
Excellent. Michael Colborne, we got another question here from Charlie. Why do you think that Tates have risen to such fame? Is it their social media presence? That's a question from Charlie.
Ooh. I'll say briefly, because this could I could turn it into like an hour-long theory seminar about what I think about social media. I think they've risen to fame because of social media. I think they have gamed not just the algorithms themselves, but the way attention works in the social media age, that they can go and say the most outlandish things. Especially Andrew Tate realized he could just say the most outlandish things, and would get attention. And I think he focused on a very narrow message that appealed to just enough insecure men out there, and not so insecure men, just enough to latch onto that message, enough grifters, enough wannabes to latch onto that message. I'll write a paper about it.
Great. And actually, let's go to our last question here, Michael, before we switch to the other research that's been published since we last streamed. This one's from Entropic Paku, and maybe this is alluding to what you've just mentioned. I don't know how much you want to give away, Michael, but the question is, what is a follow-up investigation hypothesis that you have about the network? What are you willing to disclose publicly at this moment?
At this point, I think what I would disclose is that there are a lot of in the Tate's network. There are a lot of actors who are more involved in some potentially shady things, and some who are involved who are less so. I think there are people who got involved in his network with different motivations, some just wanting to make money, some wanting to be recognized or significant, some just feeling lost, some just wanting to attach to somebody popular. That is, I think that's not much of an answer, but I think that's where I can keep it right now. I don't want to give too much of the game away, but suffice to say, there are several actually different threads about investigations about the Tate and the Tate's network, and some hypotheses. I have my hypotheses and unproven theories that, as much as you would love me to, I'm not going to throw out right now.
TBD in terms of an article on these hypotheses, right, Michael? You're working on something. So if you want to keep up with that, check out Bellingcat.com for Michael's work in some future to be determined. Michael, thank you so much for coming on. Did you want to say bye?
I did say bye. Sorry.
I didn't hear you. Sorry. Bye. Bye, Michael.
See you all later. I'm going to go have a nap and eat my cheese sandwich.
There we go. Thank you so much, Michael. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Take care. So that was Michael Colborne there, researcher and trainer at Bellingcat. That voice, that disembodied voice that you heard, has just published an article a couple days ago revealing Andrew Tate's secretive war room brothers. Again, that was Michael Colborne. Thanks for coming on and talking to us about this. I want to switch now to some other research that's been published on Bellingcat.com over the last couple of weeks. One of them is from my brilliant colleague, Annique Mossou, and she is interested in history. Annique, I would say, has let's call it a niche interest in historical images. So she's written about these in the past, including in an article that I collaborated with her on. And she was looking at a Facebook group here that posts pictures from World War II and World War I era places all around the world. And so in this article here that you can read on our front page right now, she talks about geolocating some of these images. So this Facebook group had shared these pictures from the Second World War that were not geolocated. So people didn't really know where they had been taken. That knowledge had been lost to history. And then Annique showed up and she looked at some of those pictures and was able to determine where they had been taken. So there was one of Queen Victoria at the BC legislature, and I think all of them were from North America. So she geolocated this other one to a building in Albany, New York. If you go through the article, it's packed with historical images, again, from the 1940s that she managed to geolocate, a lot of them to Canada. Too bad Michael's gone. As I said earlier, Michael and I are the only Canadians at Bellingcat, and I loved reading this article for lots of reasons, including the fact that some of these were from Canada, including this one here. So this article is interesting, I think, for a couple of different ways. Number one, as Charlie is saying in the chat, it's really good for practicing geolocation. A lot of times when we do geolocation at Bellingcat, it's for something really horrific, like a war crime or a massacre. So it's not fun to do those geolocations. And so how do you practice doing geolocations? Well, you pick something that is not traumatic, something that is really fun. Like, for example, historical pictures, black and white photos of towns and cities that have changed a lot. So this article is a really good example of practicing geolocation using material that's not, let's say, current or very traumatic. So she has tons and tons of images here, as you can see, from different places in North America and in Canada, of these images from the Second World War. So this is, again, Annique Mossou who wrote this article. One of the things I really like about it as well is that it's an interesting application of, again, that methodology that a lot of people might associate with current conflict, right? So when you think about Bellingcat, you think about Russia, you think about Ukraine, you think about Syria maybe, you think about conflicts that are ongoing. And of course, geolocation is a really important method when we're verifying images from those conflicts. But what I really like about Annique's work is that it makes us think about, oh, hang on a second, I can apply these same methods to conflicts from the past, or even to just the past more generally. So I think she's a leading figure. She's sort of the tip of the spear, certainly at Bellingcat, when it comes to historical geolocation and historical research. So big round of applause there for Annique and this article from August 4th, looking at pictures from World War II era. Any questions about this? I didn't work on this article, so I don't have any background information about it. And so I'm just gonna read what Charlie wrote. She says, you can also try for yourself, as the IBCC has lots of mystery photos. Yes. So the IBCC is the International Bomber Command Center. And they have a lot of pictures here from the war that they say, hey, we don't know where these were taken. Hey, there's a whole section here called mystery items. How cool is that? Let's click on that. Mystery items. Look, we would like to improve the description of some items. Can you help us? Friends, if you didn't have plans this weekend, now you've got them. These are photos that no one knows anything about. What a challenge. And so you can click on this picture here, for example, and there's, look at this one. A group of military personnel on the grass. Frank Allen Hewlett can be seen in the second row. Behind the personnel are some service vehicles. And so no one really knows a whole lot about this picture. So maybe you can find out where it was taken, maybe what service these men were with. Were they British soldiers? Were they American soldiers? Maybe you can find out when the picture was taken. This is really exciting. What else do we got on here? So many mysteries. A group of airmen in military uniform outside an entrance to a building. Same thing. Total mystery. Who are these guys? Well, they look really young. What service are they with? Where was this picture taken? You could be the first person to find out. So if you go in the link that I put in the chat there, you can spend, again, your whole weekend, if you want, finding out about these images. Oh, aerial views. The photographs on the left of the page and the two photographs on the right page show aerial views of urban settlements. The photograph on the right is from the countryside. So you can do some geolocation and find out where, like what towns are these? These were taken at. Fascinating. I'm going to resend the link. I'm going to put it in the chat right here, friends. This reminds me of the article the one that I referenced earlier that I wrote with Annique. Maybe my favorite article that I've ever written for Bellingcat. It was Bellingcat Memphis Belle. I wrote this article with Annique a couple years ago. And a lot of times people ask us, hey, how do you get your ideas for research? How do you come up with ideas for articles to write? And I'll tell you about this one. I remember it really clearly. I was really bored on a Sunday. I remember it was a Sunday. I was home in Toronto, super bored. Had no idea what to do. And I started watching an old documentary on Netflix. And the documentary was called Memphis Belle, A Story of a Flying Fortress. And it was about this B-17 bomber, the Memphis Belle. Famously, it was the first bomber to complete 25 bombing runs over Europe. And this documentary had lots of footage of like actual bombing runs that happened. Like a camera person was on the bomber pointing their camera down towards the earth, and it captured sequences that showed bombs dropping on cities. Now, what was interesting was that the documentary claimed that the city that was being bombed in this case was Wilhelmshaven in Germany. And so I thought, I wonder if that's true. I wonder if all of these videos actually show that city being bombed. And if so, like what part of the city was bombed? Because this is really, remarkable. These are bombs dropping from a flight of B-17s hitting like a place presumably in the city. So what I did was I made these composite images of the bombing runs from the video, and then I tried to geolocate them. I also asked Twitter to help out with some of the geolocations, and some wonderful open source researchers in Twitter responded and helped out. Long story short, not every sequence was from that town. Some of them were from France, I'm sorry. One of them was from Wilhelmshaven, indeed, but then there were others that were from Saint-Nazaire in France, and there was another one from, I don't know how to pronounce, Rennes, and Lorient was another city. So there you go. That's some historical research. Again, the person who's working on this sort of historical stuff at the moment mostly is Annique. Does Bellingcat, we got a question here from Entropic Paku. Let me ask you something. Sorry, before I read the question, can you read my messages in the chat? Hello, can you read this? Can you see this? I just typed something in the Twitch chat. Can you see it? I'm wondering. And while you respond, you cannot see it. That's so weird. I've been typing all along, and I thought people were just ignoring me. I guess I'm relieved. You can't see, but why could you not? How is it that you can't see it? That's really weird. Okay, Well, let me just really quickly receive. I don't know why you can't. Why can you not? Why would that? Yeah, I don't think it's logging back in thing. That's so weird. Okay, that seems counterproductive. That it wouldn't let you see what I'm typing. All right. Dupe Monkey there with the correction. Thank you, Dupe Monkey. Yeah, I don't speak German. I'm sorry, I did not know how to pronounce that. Okay, so apologies. I've been linking out stuff in the chat all the time, and I guess people haven't seen it. Okay. We got a question here from Entropic Paku. Does Bellingcat ever take advantage of freedom of information access, especially for these historical projects? It seems like various agency FOIA reading rooms are great sources of information, and getting historical documents would be much easier given outdated sources and methods of classifications. No, so I don't think we have Entropic. So because of the way that Bellingcat formed and developed, we're just used to working with like stuff that's already on the internet, like really readily accessible. So that's things like this Bomber Command Information Center website, stuff that's on Twitter and Facebook. So we haven't really done that. I don't think we'd be opposed to it. It's just not our kind of bread and butter. I don't think we've ever sat down and said, hey, we should do this. We should file a FOIA request and get information. Again, not for any reason other than we just haven't, it's not part of our toolbox, although it's super useful. And I have lots of journalist friends who obviously live and breathe by the FOIA request. TCAB says about that Bomber Command Center in Lincoln, if anyone is ever in that part of the UK, I do highly recommend it, as they have a lot of original pictures there. And it is, and it's full of so much interesting stuff surrounding the RAF throughout the wars. Thank you for that recommendation, TCAB. I want to now turn to another article that was just published this afternoon, just maybe about an hour ago. And as I do that, I want to remind you as well that we're going to be playing Geoguessr in about 20 minutes, maybe 15 or 20 minutes. So get ready for that, folks. The article that I want to talk to you about is from the one and only Foeke Postma. I've said this before. I am on the record saying this. I'll say it again. If I could take someone's brain and take it out of their head and just put it in my head for an hour so I could come up with a whole bunch of fascinating research ideas, it would be Foeke's brain. I want Foeke's brain just for an hour because Foeke has an incredible ability to pick out fascinating articles and fascinating ideas for articles. So shout out to Foeke Postma, one of my wonderful, brilliant colleagues here at Bellingcat. Foeke found, and thank you, Charlie, for putting in the chat there. I would have done it myself, but it's not working. So Foeke found a picture that allegedly showed the first solar panels for generating electricity on a rooftop in 1884. And this picture here was written about by the Smithsonian Magazine. Of course, the Smithsonian Institute is gigantic, and they run all kinds of fascinating museums in DC and maybe elsewhere, but I know the Smithsonian in the DC. And so what Foeke was sort of trying to get to the bottom of is like, where's this picture from? What's really happening in this picture? Because there is another picture that he found that is identical to the one in the Smithsonian, but it shows a man. And so Foeke goes, wait a minute, what's happening here? Why are these two identical pictures like this? One of them has a man in the image and the other one doesn't. Was the man photoshopped out of the image? Was he removed using another kind of technology before Photoshop was a thing? And so what Foeke does in this article is take a deep dive into this photo and into this, what he discovered to be the sort of controversy over who's the person who discovered solar panels and installed them on this roof. So it's a really wonderful read, and Charlie has mentioned this a couple times. Really well written. Foeke is an excellent writer, and of course our editors are excellent as well. And so Foeke's doing all this work that everyone loves, which is looking at every pixel in an image and going, are these two pixels the same? And what's happening with this pixel over here? And why is it not in this image? So he really, really, really makes a whole meal out of these pictures. Here he's looking at the flag. Is it that the flag was moving between the two images? And if it was moving, it means the images were taken at different times, but it looks like they were static. It's a whole trip, friends. It's a whole vibe. I really recommend that you give this a read. Fascinating deep dive, again, into historical research involving the first solar panels ever installed in the world back in 1884 on a rooftop in New York City. How about that? Foeke used to, not used to, he does a lot of environmental research as well. It's fun to see him do, let's say, historical research also. By the way, folks, if you've got any questions about anything that I'm saying, please put it in the chat and I will answer your question. I want to turn now to something that I did last week as we get ready to play Geoguessr in about 10 minutes. I want to tell you that last week I was in sunny Bogota, Colombia. I was there to train journalists on how to do open source research. It was a really fantastic trip. I love Colombia. I grew up in Venezuela. And so Colombia is similar to Venezuela. People are so friendly down there. I ate arepas 3 times a day for the whole week I was there. It was fantastic. If you don't know what an arepa is, let's pull up some arepa pictures right here. An arepa is a food that is common to Venezuela and Colombia. In Colombia, folks put the stuffing inside. It's like they're baked into the arepa. And in Venezuela, we bake the arepa and then we slice it open with a knife and then we put the food in there. So that's one way you can tell the difference between a Venezuelan arepa and a Colombian one. But these are the ones that I had there, cheese ones. Just fantastic. They're incredible. And so I just loved being there. Egg arepas, yes. Erudit says egg arepas for the win. Yes. In Colombia, they have arepas that have eggs in them. Arepa de huevo, it's called. And boy, are they good. They're so amazing. Imagine, so it's so crunchy. They're so crunchy on the outside. And they've got an egg in them. I don't know how they do it. It's really magical. But it's just really mouth-watering just looking at these pictures here. Anyways, I was in Bogota last week training journalists at the Universidad de los Andes, which is a university in Bogota. And TCAB says, any good recommendations as to where to get them? I head back to Bogota in November. TCAB, Anywhere on the street will probably be fine. They sell them everywhere. I would just like walk around randomly and grab them off carts, and they were all really, really, really good. I don't think you can go wrong. They are fantastic. So you can't really go wrong. Why was I there? Oh, yeah. So I was training journalists at the Universidad de los Andes in Bogota, and I was there with one of our long-term partners in Colombia. We have a very special relationship with them. They are called Cerosetenta. And they are a journalism outfit that runs out of the Universidad de los Andes. And they're really, really, really cool. I'm going to see if this works. I put the link in the chat. I don't think, maybe you can't see it. Why would this be like this? This is so weird. Anyways, Charlie, maybe if you can find the link to Cerosetenta and put it in the chat there. So they're really small. They've got about, I think it's about 10 to a dozen people, but the work that they do is incredible. You would think that there's 100 journalists who work there. They are super progressive. They've really got sort of their eye on issues that are really, really important that are not getting a ton of coverage down there, including this map that they put together. It's at the bottom of their website. I can't see it now. They got a map here where they're mapping. This is the map of police. No, I'm sorry. The map of violence against women in in public spaces in Bogota. So they're collecting information from female residents of the city, and as a way of calling attention to crime against women on the streets of Colombia. So that's just one project that they have on here. And they just do really, really great work. We've been working with them since 2019. And ever since then, it's been a perfect collaboration between the two of us. We're really on the same wavelength. Sometimes when you're working with an outside organization, it takes a little bit of adjustment. Maybe they speak a little bit differently, or they have different ideas for how you should do projects. But in my experience with Cerosetenta, it's always been like immediately, as soon as we walk into a room together, we're on the same wavelength. They're fantastic. So they had an open house last week, and they welcomed members of the public. Setenta. And it was such a wonderful, this is me. It was such a wonderful, it looks so serious with a microphone in my hand. It was such a wonderful experience to see the effort paying off that they put into this open house. So many people came. It was a 2-day thing. I can't see any pictures of it. They had guest speakers coming on. These are really important journalists in Colombia talking about their work. And it was this is the map that they had, the map that we saw on the website. They had it on their open house as well. So people could come up to the map and they could write down experiences that they had with violence on the streets of Colombia. So that was really cool. And every space that they had in this multimedia room was dedicated to an investigation that they'd done in the past. Just trying to see if I can get more pictures of it. Yeah, I think maybe on Instagram they were tweeting out most of their images. But it was really cool. And one of the things that they did was there was a video of me talking outside. Oh, yeah, that was a promotional video, Erida says. Yeah, I recorded a promotional video saying, hey, come to the thing because I gave a talk there too. But something really interesting that happened while I was there, I'm still thinking through this, and I wanted to talk to you about it because I'm still thinking through it. The first time that Bellingcat and Cerosetenta worked together was on a video. We conducted an investigation where we discovered the ID number of a police officer who killed a protester in Bogota in 2019, a young man named Dylan Cruz. I'm going to play a couple seconds of that video. Let me just mute the music here really quick. I'll put a link to, oh, no, I can't. Maybe somebody can put a link to it. This is the Dylan Cruz Scripps News video that sort of reveals again the identity of this police officer. I want to show you a couple seconds of it and talk about something that I did while I was in Colombia. So let's play the video.
Tens of thousands of people have flooded the streets in cities throughout Colombia in protest of the president's economic policies. While there was some looting and violence in the capital city of Bogota, the protests had been mostly peaceful until November 23rd, when 18-year-old Dylan Cruz was shot with a so-called less lethal round by riot police. Cruz died in the hospital 2 days later. Who exactly shot Cruz has remained a mystery, making accountability for his death nearly impossible. But working with Colombia's La Ligas contra el Silencio and Cerosetenta, Newsy and Bellingcat used never-before-published videos and other open-source evidence to reconstruct what exactly happened that led to Cruz's death.
Thank you for that, Aeroness. So that's the introduction to the video, and as you heard there from Jake Godin, who's another friend of Bellingcat and personal friend, he's just a fantastic human being, we were able to determine who shot Dylan. So we put together all of the videos that we had found of this protest, and there were lots recorded from different perspectives, and doing that, basically watching the videos really carefully, we were able to determine that the officer who shot and killed Dylan Cruz was Officer 003478. That was proven in the video. Now, what I wanted to tell you was that, when you're working on a video investigation like this, you watch these videos dozens of times, hundreds of times. I watched this particular video and every other video associated with this so many times that you become really familiar with the space. I feel like I know every mark on the sidewalk, every stroke of paint, every leaf on those trees. I memorized them because in the process of coming up with this investigation, you have to watch these videos so carefully. So I felt like I really knew this intersection really well. I knew which way the police officer walked. I knew exactly where Dylan Cruz was sitting. I knew every detail of these buildings. I knew the space really, really, really well. But on last week, I think it was on Friday, I went to this intersection. I was physically there, and because this happened in Bogota, and this was the first time that I have done that in my life, that I've worked on an investigation and then later gone to see it in person. And I see, Eridus, that was your question. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because I'm still sort of thinking through this. It was very surreal, and I took some pictures, actually, that I want to share with you. So it was really, really, really surreal. So this is the intersection. So Dylan Cruz is one of the protesters here. He is shot right around here where my cursor is by one of these police officers. I think it's this one. And so I was there. Take a look at this. So this is the intersection. I took this picture. So Dylan Cruz he fell sort of here, and the police officer would have been kind of around here where this car is when he shot him. This is a memorial to Dylan here, and there was actually all kinds of memorials that people had put up at this intersection. In fact, somebody put up a sign here that says that this is Dylan Cruz Street, and that before it was called something else. So, like, I think unofficially, like, people in the community changed the name of that street to Dylan Cruz Street, and there were these really nice posters, sort of graffiti posters that people put up of Dylan. So this is Dylan here, and this is him. And then this here, where this white car is roughly, is where the police officer was standing when he shot Dylan, who died sort of on the right-hand side here, near some more graffiti memorializing Dylan. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up was because it was a really surreal experience, being so comfortable with a space on video, knowing it so well, and yet being there felt really new. It was almost like deja vu. You know, when you get deja vu and you go, I think I've lived this already. I think I knew you were going to say that, but it doesn't quite, click in your head correctly, and it just feels kind of like a bit unnerving and unsettling and just sort of strange. I felt that feeling there because I knew that intersection so well, but not from the angle in which I was occupying it with my body. It was really, really interesting. I got goosebumps, obviously, like, as I was standing on the spot that I knew it was the one where Dylan had died. And the thing that struck me the most was the sense of distance. Because in the video, and I'm not going to show it here on the stream, but you can see the moment that the police officer raises his shotgun and shoots Dylan. And you can tell they're close to each other. They're pretty close. But somehow being there, that sense of scale was different, and I realized just how close they were. It felt like I could almost like reach out and touch the police officer from the spot where Dylan died. Somehow being there in person really drove home the point that they were really, really close to each other. Of course, the police officer, if you read the investigation or watched the video, he killed Dylan with not with a bullet, but with a beanbag full of little metal balls. And so, normally you're supposed to shoot that at people's legs or their torsos, but the officer shot it at Dylan's head, and so he killed him. And it makes all the sense in the world because they were so close. And again, that's something that I don't want to say was lost in the video, but the distance, how close Dylan and the police officer were, was so much more obvious to me when I was in that intersection than it was on the video. So, I've never, as I said at the beginning of this, I'd never been to a place that I had done research on. And so this was the first time that I was physically sort of like experiencing a space that I was really familiar with on video. And so I wanted to write about it. I was thinking about either like going on Medium or, I don't know, figuring out a way to write an article about that experience. Because it was very interesting, and I'd never, again, I've been doing this job for a long time now, and I never had that experience. So, Erida says, was there an official investigation ever conducted? Yes. So the officer who killed Dylan that we identified was arrested after. And I understand that the video formed part of the investigation that we did with Cerosetenta. And as you saw in the video, another ally, the Liga contra el Silencio and Newsy, now Scripps News, that video and the investigation are part of the official police kind of investigation to the killing. I don't think he's been sentenced or even found guilty. When I was there in last week, I think I heard somebody saying, yeah, like that never kind of ended up anywhere, even though there's footage of the police officer killing Dylan. Slow T says, I wish to visit Ukraine for that reason. The idea of walking a place that you spend so much time on. It was very surreal, Slow T. I think in a good, sort of in an interesting way. Like I said, I got goosebumps just being there because of the fact that Dylan was killed there, and the fact that I'd seen that place so often just kind of really messed with my head. But overall, in a good way. I'm really glad I went. I wouldn't have come back from Bogota if I hadn't seen that intersection. So there you go. If you don't know about Cerosetenta, check them out. If you hablas español and you want to know about Colombia, what's going on down there, there's no group of people doing cooler work and more important work than Cerosetenta. So give them a shout out by, going on their website and checking out their work. Slow T says, it seems so funky to be able to walk around a place without ever visiting it, knowing exactly what is around the corner. Yeah, Slow T, when I was in that intersection, I was pointing to windows and I was going, oh, that's the window where that video was recorded showing this thing. And there was a store that was, there was a window that had sort of a handrail. And I remember there was a video with a handrail in it, and I said, oh my God, that's the place where the video with the handrail was shot from. Yeah, it was really strange. Chris is in the chat. Hello, Chris. Welcome. Good to see you. Chris does a lot of geolocations and work in places like Jenin and Nablus and Jericho. So Chris is saying, I memorize places such as Jenin, Nablus, and Jericho too in Palestine. I hope I can one day walk there, but I think BB would block me from entering. Yeah, probably, maybe. Hey, one day, right? I'm thinking the other one I would visit if I could is the Mabere Dago. I worked on the Mabere Dago massacre investigation. I think that's the only other one that I kind of worked on a lot that I would if I went, I would just kind of like short circuit and go, wow, I really know this place, but also I don't know it because I've never been here. It's really weird. Erudit says, Latin America definitely needs more projects like Cerosetenta. Yes, they do. They give me a glimmer of hope when it comes to journalism and accountability in the region. Yes, shout out to Cerosetenta. They are fantastic. And like I said, we have a very special relationship with them, and I'm looking forward to working with them a lot more. We have a project with them actually coming up that my colleague Carlos Gonzalez, the brilliant Carlos Gonzalez, is working on. So you can look forward to that. All right, let's play some Geoguessr. I should say, without blowing them up too much, that Geoguessr blocked us on Twitter. Charlie found out that Geoguessr had blocked the Bellingcat account on Twitter. I'm sure by accident. I'm sure it's a mistake. I'm sure they meant to like one of our very favorable mentions of their website, or they meant to retweet a positive message that we had said about them. And I think by accident, they blocked us. So it was a mistake, and we forgive them, but we're blocked by Geoguessr for some reason that we don't know about. Chillin Online is here. Hi, Chillin. Chillin, I love your name. I don't think I've ever told you this, but Chillin is from the Discord server. I love the word chilling, like saying, like, what are you doing? I'm chilling. And I love that it's misspelled. I can't explain it beyond that. I just love, it's like a double, you're stating, you're so chill and like relaxed and yeah, I just don't care about anything, that you misspell the word chillin'. I just love that. I really like that. TCAP says, I really want to know the reasons for that block. We do as well. And Geoguessr folks, if you're watching, slide into our DMs, either mine or Charlie's. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I don't check Twitter. But yeah, we should talk. All right, so we're going to go to geoguessr.com, a wonderful website and service that helps people have fun and geolocate images. So let's go there right now, and you can go to the website and you can register an account. It's www.geoguessr.com. And we're going to play a couple of games, maybe one or two games. Giapetta says you don't check Twitter because it's called X now. Yeah, I got, it's called X. Sorry, I said Twitter, it's X. Yeah. No, I don't go on X or Twitter. I try to avoid it. I'm going to click multiplayer. No, I'm going to click party. And I'm going to click invite. And while you are being invited, oh, so you can't see the thing in the chat, huh? Okay, so go to geoguessr.com/join, and then it's PubJ. You type in PubJ. Maybe Charlie or somebody can write PubJ. Everyone write PubJ in the chat, please. Because while you join, I want to do some commercials. PubJ. Everyone remember PubJ. Memorize PubJ. While you're joining, did you know that Bellingcat has a Patreon account? Yes, we do. It's called patreon.com/Bellingcat. And if you join Patreon, our Patreon, you will not only be helping Bellingcat conduct groundbreaking research into really important topics, you will also receive, if you subscribe to the €8 a month level, you'll receive Bellingcat Premium, which is a monthly podcast where we interview a Bellingcat staff member, usually a researcher, about their work. So you get to listen to a podcast every month, a behind-the-scenes deep dive into the inner workings of Bellingcat. Again, if you register, sign up for patreon.com/Bellingcat. You'd be helping us a lot, and we give you that cool podcast. We also have a SoundCloud with our stage talks that is now a podcast, thanks to Charlie. So every 2 weeks, we have a live presentation in our Discord server, which you can join by going to discord.gg/Bellingcat. And Charlie records the talks. She makes them sound real nice, and she puts them on here. And now it's a podcast. So if you look up, bye, Donnie. See you later. If you look up Stage Talks at Bellingcat, I think is the name. It's a new one, and it's called Stage Talks at Bellingcat or Stage Talks with Bellingcat. Look it up on Apple Podcasts. Look it up on Spotify. It's there. You can listen to it. So now it's a legit podcast that you can listen to. Last commercial I want to do. I think that's it. Yeah, Bellingcat Stage Talks. Thank you, Charlie. Here we go. We have a linked tree, and this linked tree this link to linked tree contains links to all of Bellingcat's social media platforms, including Instagram. That's right. We are on Instagram now. You can follow us on Instagram because we're there. Again, thanks to Charlie. And we have, as you can see, the Discord servers here. The X link is here. The YouTube link is here. The Twitch is here. Facebook, everything is there. So if you go to Linktree, you will have access to every single link to every single social media platform on which Bellingcat finds itself, including Instagram. So if you have an Instagram account, check us out. Blue Sky is not linked. It says there it is. That's correct. But we are on Instagram. So do that while you wait for the Blue Sky link. Having done those commercials. Oh, so Charlie says we cannot do Blue Sky or Mastodon. There you go. Let's play. I see Ray is here. I see JK is here. I see Lord Char, Subtle Knife, Jurassic. A lot of people here. Amy, Step, Sarah Lott is here. Oh, that reminds me. Let's see who's the all-time champion of Geoguessr on Bellingcat. Let's do that right now. Why don't we do that? As you can see, the all-time champion. Geez, sorry. As you can see, oh, hang on 1 second. The all-time champion of Geoguessr at Bellingcat is currently Sarah Lott. Why is it doing that? Oh boy. This is working before. Oh, here we go. Yes. It's Sarah Lott. All right. So Sarah Lott had an amazing game a couple of weeks ago where they guessed perfectly basically every time. And so Sarah Lott is currently the champion of Geoguessr at Bellingcat. Then we've got Director Internata, and then we've got Jimbo, Florian Bosch, and Subtle Knife. So any one of you can dethrone potentially any one of these people and claim your place in the top 5 of the Bellingcat Geoguessr board. Yes, I didn't have a chance to add music to it, Charlie. I'm sorry. I was gonna add. Or does it come with it? I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. We'll fix it for later. All right. So let's go. Good luck, everybody. Oh, settings. We do 1.5 rounds. You can move around. You can pan around. You can zoom in and out. But you cannot Google, so don't cheat, all right? Just don't cheat. It's very easy to not cheat. Don't cheat. Let's do that. Good luck, everybody. Oh, the Duck Duck Goose Duck is here. I love your avatar and your name. Let's do it. Good luck, everybody. Have fun. We see a road here. We see a sign with, it says go on it. I see another sign up here. It also says go, probably. I see some graffiti. Oh, this is Cyrillic. So, a Cyrillic alphabet speaking person wrote these. Oh boy, this is a tough one. Huh. I also think that normally, I think normally we play with 1 minute, and I think we're doing 1:30 now. I think that's fine. What do we got here? Wow, this is a rough one. Huh. it said go. I saw a sign that said go, and it was a weird sign. Oh boy, I'm not sure about this at all. I guess down here. All right, I guessed Bulgaria just because I didn't think that. Ooh, look at this. I guess Bulgaria because I didn't think it was. I was totally lost. I saw Cyrillic. I thought it's not Ukraine or Russia because it was too arid. I guess Bulgaria. I forgot North Macedonia also uses Cyrillic alphabet. I'll tell you who didn't forget that. Paku, with a near perfect score of 4,978 points, wins the round. Good job, Paku. We got Jurasic in second place, Sarah in third, Lordchar is in fourth, and JK in fifth. A lot of good guesses from people. I was down here in Bulgaria. I just took a wild swing, and it kind of paid off a little bit. I mean, seventh is not bad. TCAP says, I never realized North Macedonia used Cyrillic. Me neither. And that's why Geoguessr is so much fun, because you get to learn stuff like this. Let's go to round number 2. Subtle Knife says, I cannot message in Twitch anymore. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that, Subtle Knife. I don't know why that's happening. You've been banned, says Erides. Ban confirmed. All right, so I think I got a feeling about this one. I feel like we're gonna have to like ignore the results of this round because we're playing with 1 minute and 30 seconds, so it's not the same as all the other rounds we've ever played. Let's see. Let's see who wins this one. It says Tamar, Rowing Club. All right. Boating and fishing. See some kind of election happening. Ooh, I'm under the bridge now. I got some signs up here. What do they say? Cataract. Cataract is not a word that is in common use in North America. All right, wow. Huh. All right, so we've got, good, wow, so both Subtle Knife and Sarah. Wow, look at this. Subtle Knife with 4,998 points, and Sarah with 4,997 points. Huh. Really well done there. Amy had a really good round as well. A lot of folks guessed correctly Tasmania. I would never have guessed Tasmania. In fact, I didn't. I guessed New Zealand. I didn't recognize. Was it Tamar? It seemed to be the name of a place, but it wasn't. And also, I saw the word cataract, which means waterfall, I think. And I was like, huh. I would never call a waterfall a cataract, and so I guessed a New Zealander might. But I was wrong. It was a Tasmanian. A Tasmanian would call it a cataract. Hello, Step. Step says, Tamar is the river. Okay, there we go. And then Subtle Knife, I think, was suggesting that Launceston was written somewhere. I didn't see it. AIM says, link, please. I think it's PUBG. PUBG is the link. Sarah says, there was a sign there. Was no speed cameras in Tasmania. Okay, perfect. Well done there. And the Paper Rose says, yeah, there was a sign about stoplights or something that said Tasmania. Excellent. Well done. We now have Sarah in first place, JK in second, Lordchar in third, Subtle Knife in fourth, and then the Paper Rose in fifth. I have slipped down to 12th. Let's see if I can redeem myself and the Bellingcat name. Okay, now we are in another place. No way. Diego María de la Concepción Juan Nepomuceno Estanislao de Rivera y Barrientos. Now, according to Spanish naming conventions, that's either the name of a person, that's the name of one person, right? Diego María de la Concepción Juan Nepomuceno Estanislao de Rivera y Barrientos Acosta y Rodríguez. Heredes, that could be a person's name, right? That could be the name of a single person. I'm looking to Heredes as the resident, let's say, Spanish speaker, aside from myself. I think this is Mexico because of the skulls. All these little skulls. Facultad de Medicina, UNAM. UNAM is a university in Ciudad de Mexico. So this is Mexico City. Or Mexico. Where exactly? I don't know. I'm going to go down here. No. Yeah, there you go. A lot of folks really close. Well done. Again, Subtle Life came in first with a near perfect guess. Really well done there. Subtle, so close as well. Bibliografía download. Sorry. Bibliografía Downland came in second. Tied, actually, for first. And then also Cerosetenta. Wow. Amazing. So many good players here at this moment. Really well done. I guess down here, just because I thought UNAM, I felt like UNAM was down here, but whatever. I guess that this place was up here. So really well done, Mexico City. Shout out Mexico City. I was there once for 1 month. Man, the food was incredible. Again, shout out to Mexico City. Let's go to round number, I think, 4. We've now got Sarah Lott in first place, Lord Char in second, Subtle Life in third, and the Paper Rose in fourth, and Step in fifth place. We got a couple folks there fighting for first, definitely within reach. Round number 4, as my stomach rumbles, and I am reminded that it's almost 6 p.m. here in Amsterdam, and I'm desperate to eat. That's why I was thinking about tacos during that last round. Whoops. I saw a sign here that had... No, it's gone. Oh, here it is. Importante sorprende. Okay, so this is Espanol. It's a tough one here, because this could also be... This is a tough one because it's Latin America. And it could be, I got a guess. I got a wild guess here. As I am trapped in this maze, in this suburban maze. I can't move anymore. I'm done. I'm done for. Can go this way now. Can I go this way? I'm trying to get out of here. No, it's all dead ends. Wow. Yeah, I guess Mexico again, because I saw a old school Volkswagen Beetle. And I know that they got a ton of those in Mexico, so I said, hey, that's gotta be close. We have a real close guess here from Bibliografía Downland again. Really well done, Bibliografía. With a super close guess. We got Step in second place there on that round. I came in fifth. Total standings going into the final round. Wow, I'm jumping out of my chair here because this is exciting. We now have Step in first place with 15,000 points. We've got the Paper Rose with 15,439. We've got Sarah Lott in third with 14,601. Lorchar in fifth. Amy in 5th place. I am in 7th again. I'm going to try to do better than 7th. Entropic says it was an advertisement with an .mx domain. I didn't see it. That's a really good one. Erida says I was having Colombia, Ecuador coastline vibes. We are heading into the 5th round here, friends, and it's anybody's game. It's anybody's game at this moment. If you're in the top 5, if you're in the top 8, you can win this. Drew Russick says, I saw a sign with Unam on it. I didn't see it. Let's head into round number 5. Let's see who will win. This is exciting. This is as close as it gets for a final round. Good luck, everybody. Let's make it Mexico 3 in a row. No, this doesn't look like Mexico. This looks like another place. I have a guess. This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be, it's another maze. I'm already lost also. I see buildings. Oh boy. I see buildings and I see anime characters. What anime is this? Maybe that will help to geolocate it. I don't recognize as animes. That's not going to help. That's not going to help. I know the country. I am sure of this country, but I'm stuck. All we've got to go by is an anime poster that I don't think I can decode. Not in time. Let's see if we can get out of here. I'm looking for a McDonald's or something that will have Latin letters that I can maybe read. Where's the McDonald's at? Where is the Burger King? All right, I'm not going to find it. I got a country, though, and so this is going to be down to luck. I guessed Japan. A lot of folks guessed Japan as well. Did anybody get it dead on? No. But many people were close, including Sarah, who guessed Osaka correctly because it was near Osaka. I don't know if this counts as Osaka. Maybe it's another municipality, but hey, it's close enough. Then we had Jonathan Moore. Hi, Jonathan, in 2nd place up here in Kyoto. Erides down here, Lord Char. I think lots of people guessed Japan. So if you guessed Japan, good work there. Let's see who won. By the way, the anime poster was the dead giveaway there, all right? You're not going to see anime posters in a lot of countries, except for Japan. Let's see. We have Sarah Lott in 1st place. Again, that's 2 in a row for Sarah Lott. Well done with 19,558 points. Then we've got the Paper Rose in 2nd place. Good job, the Paper Rose, in 19,283 points. Lord Char in 3rd with 18,519. We got Step in 4th place. Arnie. I can never tell if that's Amy or Army or Arnie. It's Arnie. Hi, Arnie. Good job. Subtle Life in 6th. I remained in 7th place. I'll take that. It's top 10. Erides, Ray, Paku in 10th, and then everybody else. Bibliografia Downland was, I think, the rookie of the game because Bibliografia, you got 2 really close ones. So really well done. And then everyone else is over here. We got Jurassic in 16, and everybody else is making up the top 23 there. Good job, everybody. Well done, Erides. Next time you will have a chance to redeem yourself and see if you can beat me. So GG's in the chat. How do we do it? Let's do GG there. To everybody, really well done. Let's go back to Bellingcat.com here as we wind down the stream. It is exactly 6 p.m. here in Amsterdam, and that means that we are done streaming. So I had a really great time hanging out with everybody over the last hour and a half. Thank you so much for coming. Tune in, let's say, next week for another stream where I'll be talking about more Bellingcat research, more open source stuff. We'll be playing Geoguessr, and I'm going to tease something. I'm going to tease something right now. There's some big news coming out of Bellingcat in the next 4 weeks. Certainly, I'll have an announcement to make that is big. And that's all I'll say. So tune in next week, because maybe next week is when we'll be talking about it. Yes. And if you're familiar with Bellingcat, we like to announce announcements. We like to announce, I don't think we do this anymore. We like to announce announcements, and we like to announce publications and then miss the deadline by weeks. So I don't think that's going to happen in this case. Anyways, I've said too much. Have a great week. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you next time.